Hey, folks, my guest today is Paul Fifield. He has 20 years of experience in founding and scaling global companies. Over the past 8 years, he's grown two international tech businesses from zero to 100 million bucks in combined sales as CRO and over $700 million in value. He's also raised over 100 million bucks of investment across all stages from seed to growth, VC, and debt based out there in England. Paul, you ready to take us to the top?
I am indeed.
All right. So what was intriguing to me about you for this interview is you came back on in January, gave us some interesting data points, working with about 100 customers that pay on average $1,000 a month. You were flirting with sort of $100,000 a month in revenue. But really, what's more interesting is there's a lot of SaaS founders that I talked to today that are trying to outsource or at least get a cheat code to their initial sales hires. And this is, I think, where you really come in. So explain to people what SalesImpact.io is doing.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Nathan. I should just say I'm recovering from COVID as well. So if I have a little cough, that's what it is.
Well, I'm glad you're recovering. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, double jabbed as well. Anyway, so so essentially we're building a live learning platform for pretty much every role in a go-to-market team. And I guess one of the unique things is it's a subscription based model. And so what basically we were able to provide customers and teams and reps is a constant all year round access to like the very best learning in go to market, and the people that teach are literally the biggest names in the industry who are often actually working right now, so they're sort of cutting edge of the industry.
Mm-hmm. Now you price this, it says on your pricing starting at $17.50 per month. What do people get for this, and who are some of your customers?
So we've been busy. So we were about 1 million of ARR when we talked back in Jan, just over. So we're close to 4 now.
Wow.
We're over 200 customers. We've landed companies like Gong, Outreach, Klaviyo. G2 is just about to sign something special. And we have another huge brand that we actually can't talk about just yet, who's just about to roll us out globally after a 3-month trial in Europe. So we have over 200 customers now. I'd say the bulk of the customers are sort of Series A to Series C, but as as I've just alluded to, we're now winning customers also kind of in the enterprise.
Mm-hmm. And so help me understand, like, why is Gong paying, and is it one time, train my account executives one time and then I quit in 6 months, or what's going to make them stick? Content stickiness is tough.
Well, there's actually a huge amount to learn. If you're a BDR, if you're a CS rep, if you're in sales, if you're in revenue operations, if you're in marketing, there is an enormous amount to learn, and we're actually building out learning journeys now that literally go over multiple years. And actually, really, what you could do over, let's say, a 5 or 6 year period, you could literally start as an SDR. We can upskill you over your 2-year stint as an SDR. We can stay with you as you transition into an AE and spend 3-4 years as an AE. We can then help you as you develop into an AE leader and start doing sales management up to VP, right up to becoming a CRO. So we literally have learning tracks that can stay with you for many years.
And what's like the medium? Like if I'm an AE at Gong and Gong just emails my whole team and says, "Hey guys, just so you know, we just bought SalesImpact. You're going to kick off on Monday." I'm like, as the AE, I'm going, "Oh gosh, another training tool they want me to go through. What am I going to get on Monday?" I log in and what do I see?
Well, actually, they kicked off with so we're working with their SDR team, and we kicked off with them. It's a short course that's quite new for us with Kevin Dorsey. He's an absolutely fantastic coach. And he kicked off with so we teach 2 hours a week. That's it. So we're not overwhelming the learners. Everyone's got targets. It's it's busy being in sales and go to market. And they loved it. It was basically one of the big names in the industry teaching them. It was a 4-hour course over 2 weeks on best practice in cold calling. So best practice in scripts, attitude, the whole piece, and it went down an absolute storm.
Where can I find, like, do you publish a list of all of your courses? Again, best practices in cold calling is one. Do you have a list?
Yeah. So if you go to salesimpact.io and click on courses and then course catalog, and you can see the entire catalog there. So we have about 35 courses now. And we've got just some of the best people in the world from companies like Tableau and HubSpot, Outreach, that are teaching. It's kind of like if you think about like masterclass, but for sales, but live.
No, I get it. It's just it's very difficult to like. Let me keep asking questions here, right? So how do you incentivize Kevin Dorsey to teach this?
Pay him.
Okay, got it. So he's not a full-time employee at Sales Impact. You just pay him a flat fee.
Yeah, we exactly. We pay our coaches, fees. There are kind of other components to the package as well, but also it's a pretty elite club, right? If you're teaching at Sales Impact Academy, it's actually quite a, it's quite a thing. People are approaching us now to want to get involved and teach. I'd also say, you mentioned us fundraising, so we raised a 3 million seed round with Stage 2 Capital, which is co-founded by Mark Roberge. And JPO, who used to work at Bessemer. What's unique about Stage 2 Capital is that all the people all the LPs are literally 250 of the sort of biggest go-to-market leaders in the world who have literally invested and created this kind of fund. So we have access now to people like the president of Salesforce, the president of SAP, the CRO of Box and LinkedIn and Gong, and that sort of list kind of goes on. So.
Give me a range. What is Kevin Dorsey or someone like Kevin Dorsey committing to? It's 2 hours a week for how many weeks?
Well, that one's a really short course for us. So that's literally 2 hours for 2 weeks. So 4 hours over 2 weeks.
Oh, I see. Okay, got it. And so
it's
Gong is
quite a light load, right?
Yeah. So Gong's paying to put all of their SDRs with Kevin for 2 calls, 2 hours each over a 2-week period.
Yeah. Well, so we sell seats, right? So you can access anything in the academy, basically. So if your company buys a seat for you, you literally access everything. We have a customer success team who plots out relevant learner journeys for teams, and then you crack on. And the results have been brilliant. Top of funnel increases, conversion increases.
So people are paying for the catalog? What is the catalog though? Is it a bunch of Google slide decks? Is it a bunch of recordings with people like Kevin Dorsey? What is that catalog?
Well, like I say, everything we teach live, but we also record the classes as well. So there's that piece. Excuse me.
Yeah, take your time.
There's that piece, and then obviously you can go into the archive and see it. But every course repeats, 5 up to maybe even 12 times a year, so you can always catch the next kind of live class. And one of the great things about the live instruction is that actually teams can learn at exactly the same time. So we have this magic hour that we teach in, which is 8 o'clock Pacific, 11 Eastern, 4 p.m. in the UK, 5 p.m. Europe, 6 p.m. Israel. So literally, if you're a company with teams in North America, LATAM, Europe, Africa, Israel, your entire teams can join this class, learn absolute best practice from, the world's best. What typically then teams then come back together after the class finishes, embed the learning, make a game plan, stick it into action, and then see kind of like immediate results. And so the pedagogy is working really, really well.
Yep. And then don't obviously disclose what you paid Kevin, but give me a general sense of what you might pay somebody like Kevin, who is doing, I assume, the prep work for the 2-hour calls and like all that jazz.
So we pay a really decent amount for the development of each class. And then we have like a teaching fee per hour as well. And each class has 2 coaches in it as well. It just improves the sort of the dynamism of the class and for them to have people to sort of like bounce, so they sort of bounce off each other, basically.
Can you give me a sense of what you would pay for them to set up the course materials? Are we talking like more or less than $5,000 just to set up, not for their hours, just for the setup?
It's based on a sort of per hour. So some of our courses, we have the longest we have is like 24 hours of learning. That's called the Definitive Guide to Revenue Leadership, and that's aimed at like VPs of sales and CROs. I mean, that was obviously a big investment, but it's multiple thousands per hour of class development, right? So you'll be in the sort of like $15,000 to $20,000 range for like a 10-hour course.
Yeah. Interesting. And how many instructors like that have you already paid?
Oh, we have about 50 now. 50.
50.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a crazy operation. So, I mean, are you seeing people? I mean, Gong's new, but people that maybe signed up a year ago, are they sticking around? Are they decreasing number of seats over time?
They're buying more. So our net dollar retention. So bearing in mind we're still like just sort of just over 18 months old, right? And net revenue retention's about 120%, but I think we're predicting that that's gonna, you see, as the curriculum grows, more teams start to then buy seats, right? Yep. So we're really going deep at the moment on building out curriculum for customer success. Once that happens across 200 customers, that could be another 200 times 20 seats of customer success people that want to upskill, right? So we have a really amazing NDR story that's going to happen over multiple years as we build out the curriculum. And there's not really that many tools in the sales stack that could literally, you could get a seat for every single person in go-to-market. Not even a CRM would have that reach into a go-to-market team.
And so what is your full-time team size today? Ignore sales coaches you pay one time.
80 people now.
80. And how many engineers?
We actually have just hired our CTO, who I used to work with at Seros, which is a company that we both sort of co-founded that. He's an amazing guy called Ryan Sherman, and we're now literally building out our own kind of learning platform because we've been using a third-party tool to date, which is going to be absolutely amazing for customers. We're going to be opening up single user access in February, March next year. So literally anybody could sign up with a credit card for something like $99 a month. We see that as going to be a huge driver of growth next year. And then we're thinking about what can we do around the app. Can we create like a sort of Duolingo gamification support learning app to really help to embed the sort of learning? So there's a lot we'll be doing in that space too.
What was that third-party tool that allowed you to get going without hiring an engineer until now? 4 million ARR.
Well, look, people are buying into the live classes. The structure, the learning design is fantastic. The pedagogy, the people teaching is fantastic. That's what people are buying into, right? This kind of structured learning to help them be better.
Well, sure, but there's a lot of people that have really good content like this, but they don't know how to organize it to consume it, whether it's their own teams, their own courses, whatever. So you have like Lessonly, Trainual, Kajabi. There's tons of like membership sites out there. I'm just curious, what did you choose to use?
Oh, we used Docebo. So we still use Docebo now. So it's called Docebo. It's like a learning management platform, basically.
Okay. Docebo.
Cebo, yeah. Yeah, it's a public company, yeah.
Yeah, that's big guys. Okay, interesting. Yeah. And so people might be listening going, wait, why does he need to raise for a business like this? There's not a lot of hard costs. Why raise $3 million and sell that equity?
Well, we're going pretty fast. So we've just ramped up our AE team to 9 people. Where we want to get to is basically about 20 courses in production every single quarter. So we want to we want to go super, super fast. I know you're a huge fan of bootstrappers, and I am absolutely too. But also I'm a huge fan of speed, and that's obviously what capital kind of gives you. So we're kind of going for the sort of speed strategy and dilute rather than the kind of maybe take it a little slower and kind of bootstrap. I mean, we could have done, but I just chose not to go down that route. We want to kind of establish ourselves as the global platform, and to do that we need to move super fast, in my view.
Valuation, $3 million. You raise, obviously this is a different kind of model. You're probably not getting as high valuation as a traditional SaaS company would, but maybe you are. Your NDR is up there. So what valuation did you raise $3 million on?
20.
And did that feel fair to you?
Yeah, it's pretty decent for where we were.
Pre-money or post?
Post.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're about to raise again now at an 80 pre.
Mm-hmm. And how much are you looking to raise?
Probably about sort of a 6 or a 7.
Mm-hmm.
And then do a major A round in sort of February, March.
Yeah, I mean, you're very much on the path of this is one of those things where it's going to have to be bought by LinkedIn, right? As part, and you're not going to lead LinkedIn Learning or something like that. I mean, every round you raise at a high valuation decreases obviously your liquidity options because people are going to pay, but also there's a lot of room to grow here. So it's interesting just to hear. I mean, you're on the raise trail, that's for sure.
Yes, we are.
Yeah,
we are. But look, the market is absolutely massive. There's so many people that are stressed because they don't know what they're doing, and the TAM is insane. I've just been putting our deck together, and you just do a simple search on LinkedIn. There's 14 million reps in B2B. There's 3.2 million SDRs, 4.6 million customer success people, 4.4 million sales engineers, 3.2 million in revenue operations. none of them have any form of structured learning or anything. They're learning pretty much on the job. So the market's massive. There's 30 million people just in that group, and that's even without marketing. So the market is absolutely huge.
Paul, would you ever go to jumpstart your growth and grow even faster? Would you ever go buy a community like Rev Genius or something like that? The same way Outreach bought Sales Hacker.
Interesting. You say that. Yeah, it could be an option.
Are you in discussions with Jared right now?
I am not in discussions with Jared right now. And have you got access to my email? Or
look, there's only
have you got access to my brain?
No. It's a genius way for companies like yours to shortcut growth, is to buy communities with great leaders like Jared. And there's just very few Jareds out there. There's very few sales communities out there with the kind of engagement he has.
We can, we've got a strong partnership with Pavilion. We can partner as well as buy. But yes, of course, those are all options, Nathan.
So how much are you paying for Rev Genius in Q4 this year?
Mate, we're getting it for a steal.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But no, okay, this is really interesting. So what's the risk to the business? Like, what is the risk? Can someone else create like better coaches, more interesting data set? Like, how do you churn customers?
Well, I think, again, I can't overstate the honestly, the competitive advantage of being part of Stage 2 Capital. We're on the fundraising journey, but we've been very, very strategic with who we partner with, and it's just wild. I mean, I'll just whiz you the link in Zoom now, and you can have a look at the LP network. It's just, I've started meeting a lot of these people. We've started getting business from these people. They're great for curriculum, development advice, potential coaches as well. It's pretty amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, this all makes a lot of sense. Very cool. All right. Anything I missed that you want to wrap up with before I hit you with the famous 5?
No, I think we're good. I think all I can say is that, I think we're on track to do, 500-600% growth year on year. I think you kind of watch this space.
Yep. No, we're obviously bullish on it too. We at Founder Path are getting capital out to a lot of SaaS founders, and one of the key things we see the ones that use their capital the most effectively is they're spending it on helping their SDRs and AEs close faster. They're spending it on people like SalesImpact.io. So it makes a lot of sense. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5, Paul. Number 1, favorite book.
Oh, favorite book. I'm reading the Book of Joy at the moment, which is the Dalai Lama and Desmond Tutu went away for a week, and this guy recorded what they had talked about, and you're talking about the whole concept of joy and happiness, and I'm loving it.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Nope.
Number 3, well, actually, I'm going to say your favorite online tool is probably Docebo, right?
I'd probably say Zoom is probably the most impactful for us.
All right. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Not enough, maybe 6 if I'm lucky. But I'm based in London, but I work on US East Coast hours, so my whole world's a bit screwed up.
And are you still 45, or did you have a birthday since we last spoke?
No, I'm still 45 for about 3 more weeks.
Oh, happy early birthday. That's exciting.
Yeah, so I'm closer to 0 than 90.
Okay, and you didn't get married in the past 8 months. Did you still not married with 1 kiddo?
I'm unmarried, single, and still have 1 kid.
All right, that's perfect. Those are all good things. Let's wrap up with last question here. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Don't work in a business that doesn't scale.
You know what you told me last time for this, this is hysterical looking back at this. Your answer was, don't get into a bad business model. And if I was being honest, I would look at what you're doing now and go, this is the shittiest business model ever. Content is horrible. It's so difficult to scale, but you're proving me wrong. You're crushing it. It's working. So kudos to you. Paul, thanks for taking us to the top.
All right. Thanks, Nathan.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue,
ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.